1948. For the first few years of my life, I lived in Oxford, Pennsylvania. My mother loved to tell the story about how she hung out snow-white diapers near our apartment. My mother loved order and cleanliness. And I think I was put on earth to mess that up. When I was just a young toddler, I had this little green electric repair truck that I just loved to zoom around. One day I zoomed it right into the leg of our hutch and put a scratch in it. My mother started wailing, "I'm never gonna have anything nice again as long as you're alive." I don't think it was the first time I'd ran something. And she probably didn't. My mother didn't do any of the discipline. My dad did it all. Now, he didn't believe in timeouts, and to be fair, not a lot of people in the 1950s believed in timeouts, but he did believe in whooping me with his leather belt. And I mean, when he finished, my butt was on fire. I could only sit on a pillow for many hours. And my sins multiplied. I left hair in the sink, and they told me, "I hope you grow up and have kids that don't clean up after themselves." And I did. And I didn't care about the hair, but I did care about other silly things that I wish I hadn't. And they also told me that I was sneaky. And I was. I'll give you one example. When I was 6, we moved from a really ratty apartment in Newark into this subdevelopment. Only we had these friends in our ratty apartment, and my best girlfriend lived right in there. And they decided that they would move with us to Chestnut Hill. I think Sherry Laughlin, my friend, and I jumped up and down for at least 2 days. We moved in, and for 2 years we were inseparable. Unfortunately, we had a party line where we shared a telephone line, and one day Sherry's dad picked up the phone and heard my dad talking about how awful their house looked, that it was just a gingerbread house. And they had a huge falling out. And from that day forward, Sherry and I were not allowed to speak to each other, to put one foot into the other person's yard. It was devastating. What 8-year-old can give up their best friend cold turkey? So we did sneak around. And I always got caught. And out came the leather belt. I still flinch to this day if I see a man loosen his belt. Believe it or not, I had an ulcer in first grade. And my mom loved medical stuff. And for that doctor to tell her that I was the youngest patient that ever had an ulcer, that was a story she told almost as much as the snow-white diapers. She said she would have been a nurse if right away when my dad got home from the big war, she hadn't gotten pregnant with me. My dad often told about how he wanted a boy. And I tried really hard to watch the fights with him on Friday nights, and I even joined a basketball intramural team, but I was really bad. And the list continued. My sister, who also wasn't a boy, and I argued. Once I tried to run away because I was so petrified at the dentist. I was never the swan in ballet. I got a D in geometry. One night I overheard my parents talking, and my dad said, if you have 2 children and one turns out okay, you've done all right. And I never for 1 second thought that I could be the kid that turned out okay. I guess it just happens sometimes. I never fit into my family of 4. My childhood was just a battle, and I never won. My granddaughter was looking at some old pictures a couple weeks ago, and she said, Yaya, you look so sad in the pictures, and it's not just your smile. She said, your eyes look so sad. And I said, Amelia, my childhood wasn't much fun for me. And she looked at me as though that couldn't possibly be true. My freedom came when both of my parents died, which was about 3 years ago. Finally, I could get out from under that horrible weight of disappointment and criticism and start on my own way.